to continue our conversations on the use of mobile marketing, we got a slightly different panel this time. We got two marketers, one from an e-com business, one from a brick and mortar business, if I can call it that. And we got a third panelist who's from the research side. And she will help us navigate what you can do with social on mobile, how she helps brands achieve their objectives. To start with, Amardeep, tell me, you spend a fortune on digital and you've done that from the start. You know, it seems obvious you're an e-com business, so spend a fortune on digital. But it wasn't like that. Compared to other e-com players, you've spent very little on mainstream from the start, and you've punted hugely on analytics and research and directly talking to consumers. So tell me your experience.
If you look at the last few years, the way India has shaped up, I think most of the people are now moving towards mobile. You know, if you look at the country today, mobile has become an equalizer. Everybody, you know, India is divided. You can say there's a lot of rich people and a lot of people who are yet to kind of go down to the stage of earning good income. But mobile equalizes everybody. And I think internet has been leapfrogged via mobile. And now for marketers to reach out to a larger population in the country, mobile becomes the best device for them to reach. So for us as a brand, we have done spends on offline also, and we continue to do on digital also. A large part of our digital spends actually go to mobile marketing today, then desktop marketing. So I think if you look at, if I look at my overall mobile marketing spends within that digital part, I think there's 70-80% or more maybe on that part would go to mobile marketing. So
tell me, if I look at your digital spends as a subset of your total spends, what are they today?
See, being a brand which actually also has a stage where creating awareness about how to use a product, we are not a business which is where things are established in terms of, you know, we're creating a market here. We do a lot of brand building also, which is on TV,
right.
Which drives business also, to be very frank. But 60% of our spends are digital, 40% is still offline.
Right. Amrit, in his case, the category is a natural sort of user of digital. In your case, perhaps legally, you know, you're forced to use more of digital than you are of no, you don't agree with that? Then say traditional media. So tell me how you use digital and how much of that is mobile and how does it serve your brands?
So, so first of all, we don't promote our core alcoholic product. Yeah?
Correct.
We basically, within the regulatory framework, work at trademark and work with brand extensions of our trademark.
Right.
And the way we think about this is that, just to give you a sense of the magnitude, between 18 to 25% of our total media monies gets into digital. And we are looking at it from 3-4 opportunity buckets. One is in terms of audiovisual content that we create and say, okay, how do we ensure that this audiovisual content gets micro-targeted because the data analytics that we have today allows us to understand what's the viewer, what's the context of the viewer, and recognize that when you advertise in a context that has affinity with your message, then your view-through rates are better, your cost per view becomes substantially better. So that's the first thing about audiovisual content, and the insight that one is using there is actually multi-screen behavior of consumers. The second thing that we do is actually think about, okay, what does this mean for partners? Because mobile today is an extension of the customer. We are very rarely found without our mobile phones. And therefore, how can we use hyper-local targeting to actually drive traffic to our customers and grow their business? And when our preferred customers grow and we become their preferred partners, it's then a mutually beneficial relationship. So for example, we are partnering with Google to create business pages for our customers. We are partnering with Google to create hyper-local content and pages for our customers as well. The third aspect of this is about thinking about moments and the moments that we want to actually not own, but be present in and participate in. And whether we think about a sports business as RCB or whether we think about our business as Diageo, there are always moments that are critical for socializing. So at the end of an evening, I feel like unwinding, I feel like connecting with friends. So how do I...
having a drink.
I feel like unwinding and connecting with friends. I feel like going for a RCB game or and experiencing an RCB game at a trade partner. And the question is then, how do we participate in the moment, add value to the consumer, and thereby, because we add value to the consumer ends up engaging with us, and we end up benefiting through superior brand building.
Right. Anusha, you've got two other panelists, and both of them take advantage of their ability right now to talk to the consumers at the time that the consumers need a conversation, whether he wants his consumer to buy and sell something, or he wants his consumers to celebrate, or he believes he needs to talk to the consumer at a moment of the consumer. So what's your role in helping both of them?
So that's exactly our role.
Right.
Our role is to actually enable that process to happen. There's a beautiful example of USL Diageo actually. The IPL matches are going on. Let's assume the match gets over at, let's say, 11:30. You know that, people finish a match, and conversations very clearly show that people like to talk about the match.
Right.
They like to talk about the players, they like to talk about the missed moments. So it's very easy to target somebody sitting inside a stadium and actually say, land this message in the mobile news feed such that people have a place to discuss this. For example, let's assume that there's a match happening in the stadium and there's a restaurant very close by, and we decide that that's the place that they can actually, that could be a partner for us, right?
Right.
And that's the place that people can actually go to after a match and celebrate, discuss moments. Targeting, ensuring the right content reaches that mobile, ensuring that, it reaches the right place, which is targeting a person sitting inside the IPL stadium, is the role that we play.
Amar, one of the problems in this whole space, especially when you talk micro-targeting and so on and so forth, is privacy and concerns about privacy on, who do you target, how do you talk to them, how do you get their permission and so on. So tell me how you navigate that space.
See, for us, we are a local business in a way. So every city or every region has their own site. So our focus on targeting is now more hyper-local, actually.
Right.
I mean, even within that, as OLX, we launched a new product which basically allows people to search within their own areas. So for us, I think mobile becomes a good way to micro-target, but I don't think we violate any kind of privacy. So we go to the partners who are able to help us target based on geolocations.
Right.
And earlier we used to do spends more national. Now we are choosing more and more hyper-local or city-based targeting, which allows us to then focus on certain cities or certain areas where we want to promote our business strongly.
Right.
And I think there are many ways you can do that, whether targeting via IP addresses or targeting via geolocations or something. So I think it's pretty normal.
Amrit, you've been a marketer for a long time. So, here the sense one gets is that the amount of time a marketer needs to spend to understand the mountain data coming at him now is becoming humongous. So tell me, how much time do you spend in understanding data? And what would you advise other marketers to do on how to figure out what to measure, how to react, what should be acted upon, how to filter data, and so on?
So I think the first thing for a marketer is to not get lost within the data.
Right.
Yeah, to actually step back and say, what's the underlying consumer behavior? What's my understanding of that consumer behavior? What's my insight? And then say, what kind of data sets that support or not support that hypothesis. And you actually work with partners, and your team works with partners who actually process data that consumers have shared with you because it's of value, with permission, right? And it's of value. And the only reason consumers share stuff with you is because it's of value, because they're getting some value in return. So that's the first thing. It's not about getting lost in that data, but it's also about, and then it's about saying, okay, how do you want to add value to what is the customer journey? What is the consumer journey? So the second thing is about saying, do you understand the consumer journey? Do you understand the pain points in the consumer journey? So let's give an example. I'm leaving the office. I want to unwind. I've got one or two friends who I've been able to connect with on my phone. They have said yes. I was wondering if 3-4 of my network additionally can come and join me. Now, if I have something that tells me where they are, whether they're free, that kind of adds value to me.
Right.
To set up that evening without pain, without a phenomenal number of calls that I need to make. So you need to understand the customer journey on saying, what do I need in this case? to enable a socializing moment that helps me have a good time responsibly. And then you ensure that as a marketer, you facilitate and enable that. So I would just say, don't get lost in data, identify the right partners who can work with you. And second, understand the consumer or customer journey and stay focused on that and the pain points within that.
Sure. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation on how marketers, both in the brick and mortar world and in the virtual world, use data. And we're going to talk about measurement of such data.